Oh my god, it's been over a year since I made a video on this channel. Not gonna lie, I forgot about it. But it's October, so I am going to be telling my ghost story since Halloween, depending on when I upload this and like edit it. But right now it's Wednesday and Halloween's Saturday, so it's super close. So I'm just gonna be telling some ghost stories, whether you tend to believe them or not. I honestly believe in them. Like, you guys can tell your stories below. I'd love to read them and hear them, and I love feedback. So yeah, first let me get in the right lighting. Oops, okay. This actually looks hella weird. Never mind. Okay, so like, my grandparents were moving out of town and we needed to rent, so we rented their old house. And then so like we were just like excited and everything was normal. Like, the house was actually new, they built it for my grandparents, so like we were staying there. And my grandpa, he went up and down to city because his job was still there. On the weekdays he stayed with us because he was actually like a school counselor, so he had the same schedule as school. So it was like a weekday, and we have like this automatic trash can and it moves up and down like that. So like, just like my parents and my grandpa, they sleep upstairs, I sleep downstairs. They kept hearing the trash can and everyone else was asleep, and they went outside to go check on each other. Like, this one didn't happen to me, and so they both got super scared, and I didn't know this at the time. Like, I was kind of little, but they told me this. But also, I was the only child who had an experience at that house. That house was like, it was brand new, and it was like in a fairly new area. But so I was just staying downstairs, and I was actually reading the Pretty Little Liars books at the time. So I was just sitting there reading with like my phone light or whatever. So I thought it was time to go to bed, so I shut it off, and I heard like footprints in the hallway, and my sister's room is like across the hall, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just go check on her and tell her good night. So I went into her room, and she was actually like sound asleep. Like, I even like just tapped her and she wouldn't wake up. So then I went upstairs. I'm like, oh mom, except she was asleep too. So I'm like, all right. So I went back into bed, and I had like a wall of mirrors at the time. Like, I had like several mirrors right next to each other as a design because we weren't allowed to paint the house. So I was just like, so I just started watching Netflix because I'm like, that's weird, like, except I didn't really think anything of it. And then through the mirror, like, I swear to God, like, this scared me. Like, I was probably like 9 or 10. I saw, so like across the mirror, I saw like a light, like kind of like an orb, go through the mirrors. Like, you know what I mean? Like, see if I, well, like, it shows reflection. So in the mirror, there's an orb / light that went across, and it was all dark in my room. And I was like, what? And I swear to God, like, I saw a shadow. It was like a white thing walk across the mirrors, and I nearly screamed. And then my door opened and closed, and I was so scared. Like, that was probably one of, like, I don't get scared easy. I can watch horror movies. American Horror Story is like my shit. And like, that was like, what? So I went upstairs and I got my mom, and like, I asked her, oh, and this was on the weekend too, so like, my grandpa was at home and she was asleep. So was my stepdad. No one else was home. And then I got her up, and I couldn't sleep. And also, right as we moved into that house, I got bad vibes. Like, when I was little, I had to sleep with my sister, and that was actually one of my first nights sleeping alone. So it was pretty scary. Like, I usually slept with her because I got bad vibes in my room. So, well, yeah, I always slept in her room because I got really bad vibes in my room, and she had like an extra bed, so I slept in there. And then my parents are like, oh yeah, you're old enough to get your own room. And so the first night I sleep in there, I have an apparition experience. And we also like saged the house a lot because, like, I don't know if this is true, but like, my my stepsister claims that she saw a girl in the closet, like in my mom's closet. No one like going into my room or the closet, as you can see why. It was pretty freaky, and there's just so many other stories. Like, my mom could tell you so much, and she's a non-believer. Like, they didn't believe until ghosts. Like, so did my grandparents. My grandparents experienced stuff that, like, they didn't even tell us about until I brought it up, and then they're like, oh yeah, I've experienced some stuff too. And also their recent house is pretty scary. After a while of living in that house, we eventually moved out after like a year and a half, and we moved into the house that we're living in now. And that was good that we moved out, and we actually sold it. But my grandparents moved, and they actually moved to the original town, and my grandpa just moved his job there. So one time we were vacationing in their house, and we always hear footsteps. Like, their houses are literally always haunted. Like, we like make a joke that something's following them, because it's just like so odd that every house that they've had has had apparition experiences. But I had this one, and so they actually built this house too on a plot. Like, they bought it and they planned it out and they built it. And so I needed a shower, so because we just got back from the swimming pool, and I went into the shower. Oh, and no one had used this. So like, they literally built this house a month before, and my grandparents just showered in their bathroom, and no one had stayed there. So this was the first time my shower had been used. You know, I was just singing Lana Del Rey, washing my hair, you know, all that good stuff. And then when I got, like, the door, it's all glass. And when I went to go out, on the glass, written from inside of the shower, because if it was from the outside, there wouldn't have been steam, and it wouldn't have been in reverse. But it said 2 letters. It said E and J. And, like, our last name doesn't start with an E. Well, like, no one in our family has the name that starts with an E or a last name that starts with a J. So, I don't know. That really scared me. Like, I'm like, what? And this was all new glass. So, like, and it was in steam. Like, someone would have to write it, or else it would have showed up automatically. But, like, do you see what I'm saying? But it's, like, so scary. And then I ran out of the shower, and I just, like, quickly got dressed. Like, I got out of that room so fast. So that's my story in their new house. And also, they also had a house before those two, and that house was also yeah, they've had many ghosts, and a lot of my ghost stories include there. Oh, also, me and my sisters like to do performances or whatever, so like, we just like to sing or dance in front of cameras. Like, I don't know why this is, but like, when we were little, we wanted to be superstars, so we like always sang. And so one day, like, it was for my birthday, and they made a musical for me. Like, they took songs and parodies. It was actually super cute, but my parents were filming it, and there were so many orbs, or just like, even just like, if you took a picture in that house, there would be like orbs. And so like, we couldn't take pictures there, but there was just this one dominant one that stayed in the same place, and it just kept moving throughout the whole performance, the show that they did for me. And my parents were like watching through it, and that was like really weird. So yeah, guys, those are all my ghost stories. I hope to plan more. I'm planning to do an Ouija board on Halloween, and I'm really into spirits and supernatural, and also the show Supernatural, as you can tell. So yeah, as you can tell, Supernatural is kind of like my fave, hashtag Destiel. But you know, I hope I have more like experiences with spirits. I do feel things. Like, I know that sounds dumb, like so many people say that I feel things. I can see dead people. Honestly, I don't know, I can just walk into a room. Like, that house gave me so many bad vibes, But I don't know, I hope to have more experiences with spirits in the future because I think it's cool. That proves that there's an afterlife, even though I'm like an atheist. I'm unsure, but I just think it's hella cool. So I'm finally glad to upload a video. Thank you for 5,000 followers on my fandom Instagram, and I love you all so much. Those are my ghosting stories. Happy Halloween. Comment your costume. Tell me if you have any ghost stories. Bye.